The Zephyrian Empire had stood for 3,000 cycles, its crystalline spires reaching toward twin suns that bathed the capital in perpetual golden light. Within the Grand Palace, Princess Khaleesi of the Third House stood at her observation window, watching as panic spread through the courtyard below like wildfire through dry grass. "They're abandoning their posts," she whispered, her bioluminescent skin flickering with distress patterns, blue streaks against violet. The colors of fear. The void plague had arrived across the palace. In the servants' wing that housed the various alien species employed by the royal family, Camden checked his environmental suit one final time. The human had been working as a maintenance engineer for 2 years, ever since his colony ship had made an emergency landing on Zephyria. Most of his crew had moved on, but Camden had stayed, fascinated by the technology, and if he was honest with himself, by the princess. He occasionally glimpsed in the corridors. The void plague wasn't a disease in the conventional sense. It was a quantum phenomenon, a tear in reality itself that consumed biological matter and converted it into raw entropy. It had appeared 3 systems away just weeks ago, and now it spiraled in the upper atmosphere, a swirling darkness that made even the bravest Zephyrian warriors flee. Camden's communicator crackled. "All non-essential personnel to the evacuation shuttles. This is not a drill. The void approaches." He ignored it, instead pulling up the palace schematics on his datapad. If the models were correct, the void would breach the palace shields within the hour. But there was something the Zephyrians didn't understand about quantum tiers. Something humanity had learned the hard way during the Mars incident of 2247, that the void could be sealed. But it required someone to physically enter the breach point with a quantum harmonizer, synchronizing their neural patterns with the tier to create a resonance field. The problem was simple. It had a 98% fatality rate for most species. Their neural structures couldn't handle the feedback. But humans were different. Camden grabbed his gear and ran toward the palace core, passing fleeing courtiers and guards who looked at him as if he'd lost his mind. Perhaps he had. But 2 years of careful observation had taught him something about Khaleesi. She wouldn't abandon her people. She'd be in the throne room, trying to coordinate an evacuation she knew couldn't possibly succeed in time. He was right. Khaleesi stood before a massive holographic display, her forearms moving in practiced patterns as she directed traffic flows, prioritized evacuees, and attempted to calculate survival probabilities that kept dropping with each passing minute. Around her, the throne room had emptied. Even her own guards had fled when the first tendrils of darkness began seeping through the eastern wall. "You should leave," Camden said from the doorway. She spun, her luminescence flashing red surprise mixed with anger. "Camden, the human engineer, you need to evacuate immediately." "So do you, Your Highness. I am coordinating evacuation that will save maybe 30% of the city if you're lucky," he interrupted, walking toward her with steady steps. "I've run the numbers. The void is expanding too fast." Her shoulders sagged, the fight draining from her. "Then what would you have me do? Watch my people die?" "No." He placed his equipment bag on the ornate floor. "I have you trust me. Trust a human." Khaleesi's eyes, all 6 of them, focused on him with intensity. "What are you proposing?" Camden pulled out the quantum harmonizer, a device he'd been modifying in secret for months, ever since he'd first learned about the void's approach. Humans have dealt with quantum phenomena before. Our neural structure, it's chaotic, messy, but that chaos makes us resistant to quantum feedback. We can interface with the tier, create a resonance field to seal it. The survival rate is 2% for your people. For mine, about 40%. I'll take those odds. 40% means 60% chance of death. Her skin flashed through a rainbow of distress colors. "I cannot ask this of you. You're not asking. I'm volunteering." He met her gaze steadily. "Your people gave me refuge when my ship was dying. You personally approved my work visa when the council wanted to deny it. This is how humans repay debts, Your Highness." Khaleesi was silent for a long moment, data streams still flowing around her, each one representing lives hanging in the balance. Finally, she spoke, her voice barely a whisper. "What do you need from me?" "Get to the central power core. When I activate the harmonizer, I'll need you to channel all available energy to my location." Every reactor, every backup system. Can you do that? She straightened, royal bearing returning to her posture. I am a daughter of the third house. I can do anything required of me. She paused. But Camden, if you survive this, you will be more than a refugee engineer. You will be a hero of the Empire. He grinned. That peculiar human expression that showed teeth aggression transformed into warmth. If I survive this, Your Highness, I'm asking for a raise, despite everything. She laughed, a musical sound like crystal chimes. Then she was moving, her forearms flying across controls, rerouting power systems, preparing for what came next. Camden made his way to the breach point in the eastern wing, where reality itself had begun to unravel. The void swirled before him, a darkness that hurt to perceive, that whispered of endings and entropy. He could feel it pulling at his thoughts, trying to dissolve the very concept of his existence. He activated the harmonizer. Pain exploded through every nerve as the device linked his consciousness to the quantum tier. He could feel the void's hunger, its mindless consumption of everything that was. But he could also feel something else, the stubborn, irrational human refusal to quit. That same spirit that had driven his ancestors to cross oceans in wooden boats, to touch the void of space in fragile metal cans, to look at impossible odds and say, watch me. Through the harmonizer's feedback, he felt Khaleesi channel power to him, every reactor in the palace singing in harmony, focused through his neural patterns into a resonance field that began to knit reality back together. The void pushed back, and Camden pushed harder. In the throne room, Khaleesi watched her instruments as the impossible happened. The tier was closing. The human was doing it. Against all probability, against the mathematics that said it couldn't be done, the human engineer was sealing a quantum breach through sheer, stubborn will. When Camden collapsed 3 hours later, the void had been sealed completely. Khaleesi found him unconscious, but alive, his vital signs weak but steady. As medical teams rushed to his side, she placed one hand gently on his shoulder. The royal daughters chose well, she whispered. When we chose to trust the human, above them, through the repaired palace dome, twin suns shone on a saved city and on a future where humanity had earned its place among the stars, not through conquest, but through courage.